Okay, recording in progress. Okay, are we ready here? I think everybody's ready. I'm getting ready to share the screen. Are you ready to share the screen? Let's see what happens here. Okay, I get to share this screen. No, which one do I get to share? Oh, here, I get to share this screen. Here we go. Let's see if this will do. Is that it? No, I don't. Yeah, that's it. Okay, we're going to share the screen. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for coming today. We're going to do short sale part 2, and I'm going to bring in a couple forms here in a second so that we can get started on it. Please keep your questions and keep your mics off, okay? And that way I don't have to scream at you. Okay, it's a beautiful, beautiful Wednesday today, and we're so happy that all of you could join us. Thank you so much. And what I want to get started with right now is I'm going to get off of this one here, and we're going to move into another one. And I think you guys can see it. Okay, there we go. I'm just going to start with a hardship checklist today. Okay. As I explained last class, we need to know and understand the people we have to work with that don't like to work with us sometimes, okay? That is called the bank. It's called the short sale department, or the people that take care of short sales, all right? And we have to remember that they are a bank. Everybody works in the bank, so their mind works like the bank. You must start thinking about how the bank worked with you if you purchased a house previously. What did they want for your loan? No. What items they wanted for their loan? They wanted you to tell them everything about your entire life. How much you owe on your car, how much credit card debt you have, how long have you been in business, how long have you had your job, and all kinds of stuff like that, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the same list step by step, and then we'll go ahead and keep the idea. It's the same list as when you applied for a bank loan. Okay. So before you get the list from the bank, they will send the bank to the client what they want, right? You can start preparing this kind of documents. Okay.
Did I scan that checklist sheet?
Did you scan it?
Yeah. Last time or this one?
I think this is probably the first time we've done this one. We didn't talk about it last time. We're going to be talking about the hardship behind me first, okay? So anyhow,
where we can find this paper?
This paper is actually on the CAR, okay, for your win forms, your transactions, okay?
Oh, okay.
If it's not, that means that you probably need to come to me and say, Steve, you have a different library than I do. And maybe then I can send you part of my library, okay? So the whole idea is we'll work something out, okay? We'll work it out, okay? So the whole idea, this is a library thing, where it's called the hardship checklist. The reason I do this is because it's certain things that banks are looking for, and it also matches up to their checklist that they're going to ask you on the phone or ask you by paperwork, okay? The other thing is we'll go over some other things, but the bottom line is we want to do the hardship, and then we want to talk about how to work with a client. We have many kinds of clients, and unfortunately, some of them do what I call lie, cheat, and steal. And they do it every day, and they're happy to do it for you too. So if they could get you to keep the bank busy for maybe 8, 9 months, and they could live there for free, of course they'll do it. So they will just do their best not to provide you with information. And if you keep being nice about it and let them just sort of keep waiting, they'll love you every month because they just save at least $3,000 in rent if they had to move out, right? So just remember, you could be used very easily by people that look very nice and very sweet, and they say they appreciate your help. Okay, so that's the other thing we're going to keep in mind today. So you got to keep a certain mindset. One is that your clients will lie, cheat, and steal. And number two is that the bank is going to operate their normal method. And that would be checking everything in your entire life, and they have a certain way they want their forms, and a certain way they want their package, just like a loan package. Okay, the original loan package that the client did, they're going to go through that same list and double check it. So what we're doing right now is we're going to take a quick look at the hardship, because we have to prove hardship. If we cannot prove hardship, the bank is going to laugh at us and say, sorry, we're going to foreclose on these people. Okay. I mentioned before that I started one couple actually before they were in a situation that the bank was aware of, okay? So we still can do that. We just have to guide them as far as like what they have to do. For example, we guided them on what they wanted. They wanted to, to get a short sale. And based on that, we, took a listing and we worked with them and we finally did it, okay? It takes a little bit longer that way because of California government, 4 months no payment, NOD, 3 months more, plus 21 days to actually sell the house. 3 months more is to get the notice of sale, and then 21 days after that, you actually, the house is gone. And then it takes probably anywhere from 1 month to 3 months to evict the owners, okay? So if you purchase a foreclosure, it's going to take you at least maybe 90 days to get the people out. You have to be very careful, okay? The lawyers are now helping them. They are helping them way too much. I still have memories of $5,000 just to make one lawyer go away when we were doing 60 of these foreclosures a year and flipping them, okay? It's not fun. All right. So now back to where we were going from. This is a hardship checklist. It's in there. Explains that a hardship letter is at front and center of a short sale and loan modification package. That's probably the best comment I've seen for any of our realtor forms about short sales, okay? It's very clear and it doesn't waste a lot of time, okay? Like I told you, you have to have a hardship package, which would include all the documents, a letter from them, and proof of everything they said. There's 3 big things that have to go in this hardship package. All right. So the bottom line is I have to start with, why are you doing this, right? And I'm asking for it. And the average problem that you're going to come up with here, this would be unemployment. That's going to be your biggest problem, more than likely. People don't have a job anymore, right? So you're going to ask questions about, their situation. Now, here we're making some ideas for you to ask. Personal experience says that this is a little bit too much for what you need. You probably need one letter from the company or an email that states that they're being laid off or they're being let go, whichever. They could have been fired, okay? The next thing you probably need is proof that you've been up there looking online, just like the EDD does. Remember how EDD, for people on unemployment, they make you do certain things, right? So it's going to be about the same idea. The other type of thing is verification about reduced income. Hopefully that doesn't happen to most people here. I hope it doesn't get that bad. Usually they either keep you at your full salary or they let you go to a layoff, right? And the maximum layoff payment per month in California is $450 per week. Okay. So these people going from 100,000 a year down to 450 times 4, is a big change, okay? The next thing is if they're going to relocate and the employer is sending them, this is going to be a hard one. I don't really suggest you mentioning this to the lender. Basically, if their salary hasn't changed, then you don't, why bring it up? Because you can pay the bank from anywhere in the United States. You can even pay them from overseas if you want. Okay, they don't mind at all. They'll take your money from anywhere. So I would leave this one as a last, maybe something you might ask, but not something to present to the bank, okay? The other one here is a normal one. I probably call it number 2, as far as the reasons that people use for short sales. Illness. The whole idea with the illness is it could be family, it could be personal, it could be your kids, whatever, right? So just make sure that you get all the details. Doctor's letters are nice, but mostly you need the hospital bills to prove that you actually owe the money. A doctor's note, the bank doesn't care. All the bank cares is that you show them that you owe too much money that you cannot pay your loan, right? That's all they care about. So we have to keep in mind that we don't want to confuse them or give them other stuff that they have to be, how to say, if your information doesn't match what they want exactly, they'll put your file to the side because it's too much effort to go through this much instead of what they want this much. Okay, so keep in mind, you don't get any extra points by putting extra stuff in that package. All right. All right, so that's the second one I consider number 2 as the second most common thing that happens. Disability. This is a possibility. I haven't seen that much recently about, people being unable to do it because of a disability. But if there is, you'll have to have something from the state probably that says they're a disabled person, they've applied for disability payments. For example, my ex is a casino dealer for many years, my ex-wife. Her back and her arm went out and she applied for disability with the state of California and they took care of it, all right? And they actually gave her money for, I forget, 6 months or 7 months. So that would be the type of thing to do to recommend to your client is they show that they have disability from a state or they try to get the money. The key thing is you have to show the client is doing their best to find money somewhere, somehow to pay their loan. Did I say that better? Like really point blank, okay? You have to remember you are a number. You're not a name. You're not a person for anybody that deals with a short sale. The bank is not, you're just case number number 2735, okay? And loan number something. That's all your client is, okay? So keep in mind, if you want this like, oh, I feel so bad, my life is terrible. Those letters, I only get to send one and we keep it short, okay? That kind of a, like sob story, we call it. All right. Death of a spouse, that's possibly one. I'm going to say that's further down the list, not on the top 3 or top 5. Like it says, you'll need a death certificate. A divorce will be more common. That's probably number 4 or really close to number 3 as what I've seen so far, people that need short sales. The reason you don't really want to mention the separation at this moment is the fact that it's probably not going to be important to the bank. They'll want something for proof that you didn't just tell them you're separated and your wife or spouse moved to another friend's house, for example. People lie, cheat, and steal. The banks are aware of that, okay? So don't try the game. It won't work, okay? Because they don't really care at that kind of thing. So anyhow, it says child support, orders, anything that can show where you're having to spend money that you cannot spend for the bank. That's all the bank cares about. Where's your money going that cannot be put on their payment, all right? And why are you having such a high amount of expenses? You have to justify each and every expense. That's what that whole package about is, justifying and to prove to the bank that your expenses are all real and nothing can be reduced. Okay, loan payment increase. This is something you'd work directly with the bank on, and mostly for people to start out with a adjustable rate mortgage that changes over like 1 year for how much, and then the next year it goes up or goes down or whatever. So the bank's already aware of this. So you don't really have to prove too much about it. Okay. Financial hardships. This is going to be the big one that you have to work with your client on. I'm going to put this one right there at the top. Okay. That the bank needs to know about. And it's the hardest one to get information from the clients. They don't want to have to tell you that they spent $300 going to Disneyland last week instead of paying their loan, okay? So you're going to have to force them to come up with some ideas on how to explain where each penny is going. And you have to give them a certain amount of time, but not too much time. They're going to have to change their spending habits in order to get the short sale approved. That kind of a deal, right? Credit reports, very important, shut-off notices, delinquent tax bills. It's all helps. Everything you can get can help on this kind of stuff, right? The more you have, the better it is. And then at the end, you can put it all together for the, what do you call it? Put it together for the package that goes in, all right? Now, I did not bring up military service. This is something totally different because the military has a special relationship with the banks regarding their loans and how they're repaid and how they get their money back. In other words, the banks are not allowed to do the same thing to military members that they're allowed to do to the common people regarding a loan that's not paid. There's a difference, okay? So I don't want to go in that because it's just not worth our time. Okay. If you have a military service member, come get me, okay? I'm ex-military, so I'll help you get it done, all right? And then the next thing is property damage, repairs, contractors repair bids. I've only seen this once in my life by a guy that had been living in the house with 8 kids. And I got the listing because I could change a diaper for an 18-month-old kid while he was on the phone. So that's how I got the listing while I'm waiting for him. Okay. Well, I've been in seeing, my name is Mr. Dad. Okay. Mr. Mom. I can change a diaper on my shoulder. Don't worry. Okay. So my daughter traveled with me for many years. Okay. So not a big deal. But anyhow, I got a listing based on the ability to change a diaper. But his house had never had any repairs. He hadn't done anything with 8 kids. You know what I'm saying? He's going to work and his wife is going to work and the kids are just going everywhere. So anyhow, the bottom line is the bank wasn't interested with it. We brought in what we call a BPO. And that's the next thing I want to go into now that we've got to this point here. What banks like to do and what they are willing to pay money for is to pay, usually you have to be a broker, okay? So it's a good reason to get your broker license. It gives you an option there. Basically, they pay you to go to the property and from the outside, you take a look at it. And once you're finished from the outside, then you go back to your wherever and then you type up a report and give them your idea of the value of the property. Okay, so you'll go through and check the title company for comparable sales, right? And then on top of it, you'll view the outside of the property and go from there. And that's what we call a BPO, broker's price opinion. All right, so that's another thing you guys could consider if you're a broker. But anyhow, they'll arrange for a BPO and then they'll go from there to figure out what price they want. Now, in the meantime, we want to have the bill, we want to have the listing ready to go and everything's going to go forward that way and get it on the market, okay? Okay, here's a checklist for the hardship letter itself. Okay, why don't we just start at the first one here? Number one, you need to help the client make sure that how they write it, all right? I've had clients that are not able to get a whole sentence together. I'm sorry. They got out of high school, but I'm not sure how. So you have to help them and guide them. You don't change their story. You just change the way that it's presented so that everybody understands it. For example, if he says, my business no good, you have to ask him more questions, right? So the idea is you have to guide without guiding. All right, so you explain about the short sale and then lender's best interest to agree to a short sale. Do not try to tell the lender what's in their best interest, okay? Leave that to people like me or you guys, the agents, and the seller should not, the seller should not do anything that try to tell them what to do. It's not a good idea. You cannot go down to your bank and tell them what to do. Why would they listen to you now? Okay, so even though my dear friends, the lawyers at CAR wrote this, let's keep it to the last use, okay? So now, this is more important is right here. You start putting down the financial hardship and what's the problem, okay? And then telling them what, when, and how, meaning how it started, what it is, how it happened, okay? At the same time, you never miss a chance to write down something that says the person is a very nice person. They've never had this problem in their life. They've never had any trouble paying their bills. They've always been, high FICO scores or whatever, right? They've always been a good person. And just because of these things, they're unable to keep their original promise of paying the loan. So anytime you get a chance, remind the bank of the fact, but don't try to tell them what they're supposed to do. Okay. Now, once you get into here, attachments, you've got to have everything in the documentation, okay? It just goes down there. And make sure that the way it's put in there matches the way you present it in your hardship letter. Okay, like this is the car got me, the utilities got me, whatever, my car broke down 3 times, my house windows were broken, whatever. Just make sure it's in the same method as the letter, because they'll read the letter and then they'll start going through the forms to see as they write it, okay? All right. And here's how I explain how it went beyond the buyer's control. In other words, I was doing my best. The company gave me less hours. I could not get the money, whatever. I had problems, explain that kind of deal. And then finally, it got out of my control. So now I'm coming to you after I've tried everything. The key thing is say, I have tried everything to make money so I can pay my loan. I always want to see that sentence in the hardship letter when I talk to the people, okay? I have tried everything in my power to try and earn more money so that I can keep up with my loan payment. And now I've got no other choice except to come to you and ask you to consider a short sale for me. Okay, and based on the way I said it, that will cover some of these questions in here. For example, how are you going to fix the situation? Why the borrower cannot repay the loan now or in the future. The key thing here is to remember you have to mention that you cannot do it in the future. Otherwise, they're going to come back and want to offer just a 3 or 4 month break, and then they'll tack on all the interest and tack on all the things to the end of your loan. You're not getting away from it, okay? So the only way to get away from it is to make sure you say, I cannot do it for the future either. Okay, not just 6 months, I cannot pay my bills, for example. So that's the whole idea there, to make sure that you get the short sale approved. All right. And then why must a property be sold? Anybody want to go for that one? Why do we need to sell the property? Yeah, I cannot pay the loan on it, and the only way to get money for the bank as much as I can is to go ahead and sell the property. And the other reason is the property has to be sold less because the value has dropped. So there's 2 reasons that they want to hear. It's like begging your grandmother for money sometimes, right? Mom, give me this. I promise I'll pay you back forever and ever. And I really need it. I have to have it, you know, that kind of stuff. You have to be the beggar. Okay. So what they're saying is, why must the property be sold? Is because the money, right? But at the same time, you tried, you see what I'm saying? You tried all these ways to get a solution. And this is the last solution, which is a short sale. What is the one thing that the banks really care about? How much money do you think they start carrying? 1 penny. Okay, so if your actions are going to cost them $1 or 1 penny even, they are unpleased with you, very, very unhappy with you. Okay, so we have to keep in mind that their entire focus is going to be on money. So when we're talking about this, we have done everything we can do to get their money back for them. So you see, we keep this pretty simple. You keep it down to 5 ideas: money, 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 and how I'm going to get it back to you, or how I can help you. Okay.
Can I have a question?
Yeah.
Well, this is all the, our show say. Okay, as a vendor, do they have some kind of insurance? Like loan insurance for,
Oh, the loan insurance,
they.
there's
sell
different types of
loan?
that. Yeah, there's different types of that thing, but the most common one is going to be the mortgage insurance, what do they call that? MIP, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, that's the most common, is the mortgage insurance that you're actually paying for. I'm sorry, the client is
So
paying
the
for it.
insurance company will kind of, compensate or reimburse something?
Well, we'll get into that in a little bit after I get over the hardship later. But truthfully speaking, they don't lose. Okay. They never lose. Okay. Don't even think about it. The lenders tell you they're losing, but I have yet to
They
see
get
one losing.
compensation from the insurance company.
Yeah. But no, they take care of that directly with them. But what I'm saying is, what I've seen as far as like my client had a loan for 2 years, interest only, which turned out to be $50,000 cash they've received on time, and they got to use it any way they wanted, right? And then the short sale we were asking for was only 25,000 because the market dropped 25,000. So the bank was claiming they're losing 25,000. They had conveniently forgot about the 50,000 they've been making for the last 2 years, and it's in their pocket cash. Okay, so I've yet to see a bank really lose between the mortgage insurance and between the fact that they were getting payments, and they had cash in their pocket. Okay. Well, loans always start out with very, very little equity and mostly bank money, right? Yeah, interest. So most of your houses like that were in the early 5 years, like within 5 years, people were having trouble. So that means the bank was getting all this, and you see what I'm talking, right? Okay, so the bottom line now is, let's keep going on further here. So you're going to show that whatever you've been doing, right? And then you're going to have to show that there will be no increase in expenses or cash or whatever they could get after 6 months or whatever, right? And then I don't know what you guys are used to, but I spend a lot of time presentations, and the number one important thing is to tell the people again what you told them. So right before you end on any presentation, you always go over everything you told them, right? And it's the same way with the banks, okay? Because truthfully, they're going to have 200 files, for example, on their desk. And you're going to send them how many pages? Okay, so the idea is, even though you've done 5 beautiful paragraphs, you need to put 1 beautiful paragraph that covers the whole thing. And that's what they're going to look for right before the end, guys. They'll see your name to make sure it's right, and they'll look at the end to see what you wrote about the whole deal, like a synopsis. Okay, so just remember that's what they're talking about here, the short summary. Okay, style. Try to make sure it doesn't sound like somebody that's a professional wrote it. That's why we try to make sure that real estate people don't help them on getting the way it's said. We'll try to help them to go through this checklist, for example, and ask them to, hey, why don't you put down about this? Did that happen? Did this happen? Did that happen? it's better to see it in their words, because that way it doesn't look like somebody's, it's coming from their heart. Okay? They didn't pay somebody to write a crying letter, right? Or something like that, okay? And you can tell people that you're working with, you can find all these crying letters online nowadays, and I would not be surprised if the bank has started looking online at your letter to see if there's a copy online already. Okay. All right, so basically, here's a little checklist that's handwritten but legible. I don't go there anymore. If you type it up, that's fine, and then make sure they put a nice signature at it, okay? But make sure it sounds like a person talking. And certain people that maybe have a different level income, and other people may have a higher, a different level, that kind of increase, make sure it sounds the same. What I'm saying is make sure this one is as those kind of people at that level usually speak, and the other one is at this level as those people speak, okay? Try to match the, I call it paint a picture. Okay, they make X amount of dollars per year, their loan payment is this much, and this is their, average place they go to shop, this is the average place they go to this or that or whatever. So the way these people lives are, you want to paint the picture for the bank that I did my best, I didn't have a lot of money, I'm just a middle class person or whatever, right? So that's what you want to do on it. But anyhow, let's go on to the next one here. Clear and concise, yes, you do your best. Factual and truthful, yes, be very careful. You don't ever want to get caught presenting a client's letter. You're a third person authorized on the account, don't forget, okay, to present information. You do not want to get caught presenting anything that is not, verified, no matter what the client wants.
Do we have to verify it for them or?
Well, you're going to ask the questions and ask them to show proof of everything that goes into that letter. Like if they said, oh, my mom was sick for a year, then you would have to start showing documents that you paid her expenses, right? Otherwise, if she paid it, then you don't have anything to say, right? So you see, I'm coming from whatever story they tell you, you want verification that you can upload to the bank. Yeah, don't let them get away with that, because if they get away with that, it could come back on you, where the bank doesn't want to let you present more short sales. We don't need that, right? So, okay, so anyhow, the handwritten part, the reason I said handwritten is not a good idea. If I would write my letter right now today, I could probably find only one person could read my handwriting in this room at the most, okay? So we don't really want them handwriting and they're trying to guess, right? Just go ahead, type it up nicely, keep the same talking, the words or the same method or way of talking, and then sign the thing, okay? All right, so that took care of this one. The bottom line is your hardship letter is very, very important, okay? It's right after that third-party authorization I told you about last time. So the first thing is get the third-party authorization, and the second thing is to get the hardship letter ready to go, okay? Each bank is going to have their own list of stuff they want, but I try to present to you what my experience is that it's exactly the same or really close to what they ask when you're asking for a loan. They want to know how many pickup trucks do you have? They want to know how much you pay every month on the pickup trucks. They want to know, how much student loan amount you have, right? They want to know everything like that. They want to know how much money. The only additional things they're going to ask you is how much of your, what do you call it? Balance money that's available for just like Swabian for spending on anything, right? Like food, maybe a movie or whatever, that kind of money. After you paid all your bills, right? That money left over. They want to know how that is spent, and you'll have to provide that details. Meals once a week, $350. Gasoline, $100, whatever, right? So you'd have to provide the exact breakdown on the extra money. 400 in the bank, so much to this and so much for that, right? So just remember, everything except that will be from the loan, basically. except for the balance of your cash, then how you spend it when you build up the package for the bank. You have to prove to them where your money goes to the penny. Okay. And if you have a lot of money in your bank account, I've seen short sales rejected because of the amount was enough for almost a whole year's worth of payments, just the money in the bank. Okay. So just remember, you know, they're not going to believe everything you tell them. Like if you tell them, oh, I'm broke, but I still got 100,000 in the bank. Try to explain it. It's going to be real tough. Okay. All right. So let's get back out of here. I'm going to move us down into the, where did we go here? Come on. Come on. I thought I could get it here. Let's see. Oops. Okay. Why can't I do it? Let me try it this way. If I could get over here, maybe. There we go. I'll use my little, okay, now we're coming down to this side of it. We want to get into the package. Okay. So after you've done the hardship letter and your third-party authorization, you will go ahead and, of course, get your listing started, all right? If they're not willing to give you the hardship package, which explains where all their money's going, and they're not willing to give you a third-party authorization, your chances of getting a successful short sale just gone down to very, very small, okay? Okay, right now we're gonna do a checklist here. It says short sale package checklist. This is also a CAR form. They do a pretty good job of it. You have a cover letter, table of contents. Truthfully, you have to follow the bank, okay? Whatever the bank wants, that's what you're going to put in that package, okay? They're going to tell you how to type a cover letter. They're going to tell you how they want it, like which goes first, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. They're going to tell you all of this. Do not even one piece of paper different than what the bank has told you to do. Okay? Like if example, I have 43 items. If item 42 is placed in item 41 spot, they're going to take your package and put it to the side and you'll never see it again. Okay? They'll tell you they'll look for it, but you'll never see it again and they won't waste time going for it. Okay? It's more like a loan package. Same thing, loan package, you're missing one item or it's misplaced or it's not done correctly. The bankers don't want to talk to you about your loan, right? So the whole idea is remember that no matter what the bank says, follow it. Now, this is just to give you an idea of things to have ready to put in that package. And we've got our hardship letter, we've got documentation for the hardship, financial statements, you've got everything you can think of in that. Banks, whatever, right? Your bank accounts, checking accounts, whatever, savings, CDs, everything you can think of. I'm not going to say 2 because it depends on the bank, okay? So make sure you have recent bank statements, and I try to go back 3 to 4 months, okay? Or pay periods at least, okay, to have it ready. It says stubs, current year to date, profit and loss. This kind of thing is everybody's that gets a check will have a list of what the payment has been on each of these deductions, right, for the entire year. So make sure you get the one that shows the entire year. If it's January, they're trying to do a short sale, you have to provide the previous year, okay? Okay, 2 most recent W-2 forms. I keep seeing 2222. Just say as per the bank's request, okay? If they want 1, send them 1. If they want 3, send them 3, whatever, okay? You got to make them like you so that they'll approve the short sale. You got to sit over and do anything they ask you to do, okay? Fighting them doesn't work. Taking fruit trays works quite a bit, okay? HSBC, we're still friends, and some other places down in El Monte. And oh yeah, the people up in Pasadena, the bank, I took in a super large tray, and now we're still super friends. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. How's my offer going? Is everything okay? And hi, here's a nice big tray. I would love to send it to everybody. Can you send it upstairs for everyone? I want the underwriter, I want the junior VP, I want the QC guy, I want the loan officer. I want everybody to take a part of this, please. I really appreciate all that's being done for my offer. Okay. If you cannot get people to do what you want, they'll always do it for food or money. Did I say that one wrong or not? Did I get pretty close? If you really need something and somebody doesn't want to do it, you have a very good chance of offering money or food and getting what you want. Okay. So just remember, it works good for bankers too. They love money and food. Okay, so the IRS form, let the bank tell you what to do on the 4506. Truthfully, you could probably get it if you go on your own IRS account at the irs.gov, okay? Because that's where they keep all the copies of your previous tax returns. And you're now allowed to print them off, okay? Then the final thing is the listing agreement. Please note, there is no such thing as what? Short sale listing agreement, right? Why do you think that is? That's the only thing the bank can do is approve it. They cannot control it. They cannot do anything about the idea of the seller selling their house. All they can do is if he sells it and their money didn't come out to be the right way, they can stop allowing the sale to go through, or they can come back and foreclose on him immediately. So the bottom line is no one can stop an owner from trying to sell their house. Not possible, okay? So even if somebody has a lien against the property, until you do something bad or try to do it bad, which is to record it in somebody else's name, then they can't bother you. So we only use our residential normal listing agreement, okay? And California is concerned, we are the listing agent, and that's the way California looks at it, okay? Now, of course, we have to explain to everybody it's a short sale. We have to explain about the 50%, do this and do that, which I'll get into a little bit later. Now, the next thing that we have to work about here is see the short sale addendum, okay? It's a spatial addendum that goes with the purchase agreement or the listing, and I'll pull it up here in a minute. And then CMA, I always do what I do for any client. Basically, I pull all the comparables from the market on a title report, right? And then I present it at the same time I present my listing agreement. And if there's any questions, then we talk about it, and then we make a deal, okay? Explain to your people that you're going to charge them a certain amount because the fact that it's going to be the bank that determines what that amount is anyhow. So no matter what the seller says on the amount, it don't count. So you can explain that to them. Is there's two things. Number one, they cannot receive any money from the sale of their house. It's not allowed. Number two, they cannot decide what the commission is paid to us or the money that's paid to the escrow company. That's all the decision of the bank on how to spend the money that's received from the sale. And our money comes from that money, okay? So basically, make sure your seller knows, please let me do it. And then you'll see what happens, because as of this moment, you get no more funds from the house. You know, that's it. And if they'll work with you, then you're good. If they don't want to work with you, now we have another problem. They don't understand. You'll have to explain it several times to get them to agree to a short sale. Okay. All right. So what I'm doing right now is I'm going to go down here again and see if I can do this. And we'll take a look at the short sale addendum. There it is. Short sale addendum right here. Okay. Is today a little better, a little more easy to grasp, right? We're doing, you're like, this is called the meat and potatoes part of it, all right? Okay, let's see if we can go here. Okay, this is the short sale addendum, guys. It's a short addendum to the purchase agreement or something else, but usually it's for the purchase agreement, okay? basically, this one is written on behalf of the buyer. This is the way it's written, but there's a lot of good information here about what the process of a short sale is, okay? It says the agreement is contingent on the seller's receipt of and delivery to a buyer of a seller-approved written consent. It's called short sale lender's consent. In short terms, it's called the white paper. After the bank has gone through all their steps, they start out with the loan officer, to the underwriter, to the QC, to the VP, to the senior VP. Once it's gone through all these steps and the bank has decided how they want to handle it, they will present a letter back to us stating all the details. And we call that the white letter. It will have the sales price they agreed to. It will have how much to pay for escrow. It will have how much to pay for ours, the total commission. And there's only one commission, guys. They don't tell how much for the buyer's agent, how much for the seller's agent. They only tell for one price for the listing agent, okay? Meaning that broker. And then whatever agreement we have is at 50%, okay? According to the MLS and according to realtors. So that will be the only one commission, one escrow and everything. Sometimes if the person that's requesting the short sale has too much money in the bank, or it looks like too much money and the bank wants their hands on it, they will insist that the person pay them X amount of money from that account before they will agree to close escrow. They would have to bring the money extra to the escrow and present it, okay? And that's pretty much what we call the short sale lender's consent. It has a list of all the details and then when and how and where it's allowed to take care of it. Normally, once this letter comes down, they try to close the escrow in 17 to 20 days, okay? That means your buyer is already getting ready and prepared so that when it gets there, then the lender will go forward. And it was as soon as the seller's lender approves the short sale, then the buyer's lender is all set to go. And they got all the paperwork, they got all the forms, they're already pre-approved. They're just waiting for the last thing, which is the white paper. And as soon as that's presented, then everybody can run quickly to close the escrow. Now, the key thing on the escrow is that the lady or gentleman who's the escrow officer has special instructions on how to handle the money. And they have to do it in a certain time period. Basically, it's like it says, commission to so-and-so, right? It says no money to the seller. Do not ever, I repeat, do not ever get caught or even have anyone think that you gave some of your commission to the person that was allowed a short sale. That is a federal problem. That's a US government problem. Okay, it's not permitted at all. And do not ever get anything going about anything else to help them. You know what I'm saying? Do not have any record or anything like, well, I'm helping you get a house, I'm going to give you a free house or something like that. You are not, don't even go there. Okay. Put them in touch with the person that has that house. You do not do it. Stay away from it. Okay. So the bottom line now is we're going to go further down the deal since I've got all the heavy duty stuff. Okay. Here it says, lender's consent means all short sale lenders agree to reduce their respective loan balances by an amount to permit the proceeds from the sale of property to pay existing, and it goes on, right? The thing you have to remember here is in reality, here comes reality. There's a first lender who is the big one, the one in charge, right? Then there's a second loan person, lender, right? And they're considered the junior partner. Okay. The junior partner has no choice except to follow the senior. So even though they have $80,000, they cannot tell the senior, oh, I'm not going to do anything until you give me the $80,000. That doesn't work. The senior will just ignore them and go on and give them nothing, and then they'll grab the house. So the bottom line to remember is that the way the banks work is that the second junior man usually gets between 5,000 and 10,000, depends on how much they, that second loan is. Whereas the senior collects all of their money and then leaves 5,000 left over out of that money, okay? So all the money goes to the top, and then the top offers 5,000 at the end of close of escrow. Don't worry, basically, when it's a changed position, let's say Citicorp has become the first today, they might be the second next time, and it's still the same process, and all the banks agree to it. So don't worry about the second loans, okay? They solve that between themselves. It's not our problem. And truthfully speaking, it's sort of funny to watch them argue a little bit about, well, I wanted 5,500. Are you joking? You have a $5 billion bank and you're worried about $500? Now you know what I'm talking about. They love money, right? Okay. So the bottom line here next is that we'll go down to C. And here's this is the one I'm talking about. It says, seller shall deliver to buyer a copy of short sales lender's consent or term sheets, okay? This is very important, and it's usually done by you, the agent, okay? The agent is not included on that paper. There's nothing that says we get a copy, all right? It only goes between the bank and the seller. So the idea is that you talk to the seller and say, okay, let me see that paper, and that way I need to give a copy to the buyer on your behalf. And in the meantime, take extra copies for yourself, okay? Okay, so that's the one thing that you have to watch out being a short sale listing agent. You have to make sure that that paper is presented, okay? And truthfully, when you get that paper, it's time to go out and celebrate, okay? Celebration time, because all you got left is 17 days and you get paid, okay? And also, you've been fighting it for how long? I think the longest I've ever done was 15 months to get to this point where that letter shows up. It doesn't give you any more commission, don't worry. Okay, so anyhow, the next thing we want to do here is, if by the short sale contingency date, sellers not received the consent, seller may in writing cancel the agreement. It says, buyer has not received a consent thing, buyer can cancel the agreement. Any case, buyer shall be entitled to any remaining deposit delivered to escrow. That's fancy words to say that when we're doing short sales and using CAR forms, it states that contingency period is, a certain amount of days or months. And at that time, then the buyer can decide whether he wants to continue waiting or if he wants to, get out. That's the way it works, all right? My suggestion on this thing is if you keep the pressure on the bank, you could get to a point where you can sort of guess about how much time. And if the bank won't do it by that much time, you need to get out anyhow and waste your time. Don't waste your time anymore. I've never had problems except at the end of the year where they have, they're waiting until the last minute to approve these kind of sales because their stockbroker or stock owner meeting is not till February. So even if they would have done it in October normally, they still try to wait till like November, December, to see if I can get them another offer as a listing agent. And I have to tell them point blank, you're not getting one. And then when I get to that point, then they usually will say, okay. And within like 2 weeks, it'll come from God all the way down to me and I'll get a copy of the paper, all right? And truthfully speaking, if you keep this in your mind about they're up there and you're down here and you got to do a little bit of begging, keep it in mind, it helps. Okay, then you don't feel so bad. All right. So the bottom line now is seller shall cooperate with short sale lenders in short sale process. No one's obligated to change the terms of the agreement. So whatever you sign on that purchase agreement, nobody has to change that. The bank might tell everybody that they have to change something on the purchase agreement, but they can always cancel or back out and not take it. The buyers and the sellers, even though the bank asked for it, they cannot dictate it. Did I say that correctly? For example, the seller could back out and let the bank foreclose. But you don't want to do that after waiting so long, right? Okay. I'm trying to point out the fact again and again and again, the bank has no way to do it except to stop something. They cannot demand that something be done no matter what. you always have the opportunity to say no to the bank. I'm not interested. See you, bye. The buyer can say it, the seller can say it, and the bank is only able to say that yes or no, or this is my idea. Okay? Did I say that better? The key thing is no matter what they tell you, they're not 100% responsible for everything. Okay, now the next thing we're going into here, time periods. This one is pretty, you have to be very patient, okay? These people are going through a major problem in their life, a major stressful deal. Getting all the kids available, getting a room access to the house, getting everybody out of the house for inspections, for example, things like that. You just have to be, patient and respectful, and then you'll get, results. If you go banging on the door saying, I'm here to do the inspection, or I'm here to do that, or do what, you're going to find out the door doesn't open. They're just going to leave the door locked and pretend they didn't hear you. Okay. So just remember, it takes patience and working with people. Okay. Now the buyer's deposit check, this is like normal. Basically, they're supposed to bring in a 3-day check, right? Or bring in a 3-day deposit. That's normal. So this is just repeating the same thing. Everything is exactly the same as a normal purchase agreement in escrow up until the point that we're waiting for the short sale letter to come down for the approval of everything that everybody's decided on already. Okay. So the way you handle everything is exactly like a regular purchase on that part when you get to that point that you're in escrow. Okay. This is something that's called CYA. All right. Notice the black letters, right? The bold ones. There's no assurance of lender approval. Because of the way banks work, we start out usually with a receptionist or somebody on the phone who's either a receptionist or a loan officer, or it used to be a receptionist, is now a loan officer. I've had those too. So you're looking at somebody with almost no experience, all the way up to a senior VP that's been working the bank and loans for probably at least 20 years, I'm guessing, is what I usually meet, right? And in between, you're going to have an underwriter who could be new or could be very experienced. On top of that, you'll have what they call a QC person, whose only job is to make sure that the people below them have already checked the paperwork and all the documents to make sure it's ready to go. And they're looking so that they can turn it up to the next level, which is a VP. And of course, VPs and senior VPs, they don't do real stuff, right? All they do is they sign. So that means the underwriter and the QC people are very, very important for us. If I can get them to do quickly for me and go forward fast on things, then I can squeeze the VP and the senior VP easier. Okay, because I cannot call the VP and say, well, why don't you do it yourself? They're going to be laughing for the next 100 years. Okay, so the bottom line is you always want to contact the QC and the underwriter if you can. The VP, I think I've contacted 4 or 5 VPs, but only at the last minute after everybody was finished. For example, the underwriter told me he was done. The QC guy told me he was done, and that he already given it to this gentleman. I go, oh, is there a chance that I heard his telephone number? And makes people laugh. No, you didn't hear the telephone number. Oh, that's right. What was the number I didn't hear? Just make it lighthearted and see if you can grab the number, okay? And then call directly. It always surprises them. And once you start surprising them, then you start getting things finished, okay? I've actually had to ask a gentleman if he was authorized by his company and stock owners to turn down $400,000 cash coming into the company. There's many ways to discuss things with people without saying bad things, right? So just get your brain ready that you're not going to be complaining, but you're going to be asking a question about, excuse me, my client has $400,000 to give to your bank. Is your bank willing to give up $400,000 in this time of year? So don't worry, you have to show a little what do you call that? We call it chutzpah in when I worked for a Jewish company for a long time, but I don't know what you call it. You have to a little bit holy and Pete, right? You have to have like the lianhova, right? You gotta do that way because otherwise they have it in the military. We say he who tries will have a good chance to win. If you don't try, you don't win. So, so nothing should be too much to try. Okay, go for it. The worst they're going to say is no, and that's what you have right now is no. So never worry about whether somebody's going to tell you no in the short sale business. Ask.
Oh, yeah, I have a question regarding, we're talking about the CMA report and the, BPO. So when as the listing agent for show sale, you're gonna present, an offer to the bank.
Okay,
And what the listing agent choose, the offering money, it should be close to the, I don't know, the.
yeah, this comes with experience. Basically, if you want to use the law and the rules, it says we're supposed to deliver every offer. That's the way it says. If I got an offer, it goes directly to the bank. That's the way we're supposed to do a short sale on behalf of the bank, okay? However, if you ever do that, you're gonna get the bank calling you directly and saying, what are you doing? Are you out of your mind? How am I going to decide which offer is the best offer? You are the real estate person. I am a lender. Okay, so just remember that what you do is you have your mind about what the price they want. Okay, and then you either don't have any other offers and they're ready to foreclose because they still keep trying to foreclose while you're doing this, guys. So if you understand that they're getting more calls to your client about we're going to foreclose to get more, and then you try to get any offer you can, go ahead and present it. But if not, like I usually try to get 3 in my hands and choose the best one. Okay, and then send it through. And the best one is not the best price. The best one is the one that will close. Like I can see that they got a good loan or they got a high amount down or whatever. In other words, you look at that and then we present that one first. And then you keep the other 2 and you advise the other buyers that, give me time. I need to get everything taken care of. So what you do is you present the best one in your opinion, and then let them tell you yes, no, or ugly. And then if that one is kicked back at you for whatever reason, they don't like it, now you present the other one and or present another one behind it, okay? And after they reject the first one, you know exactly where their pricing is. My experience, 5% is maybe 8% was the max we could get back in 2000.
Below the market price?
Yeah, below the market price was 5 to 8%.
You're saying you do the decision to present the.
You do the position, yeah, based on what you're doing, but sometimes you don't have to do that because all you have in your hands is just one offer. And you need an offer in there before they can stop the foreclosure. If they don't have an offer, just you talking, it doesn't work, okay? Now, in a minute here, once we get off of this one, I'm gonna go into that subject and we'll go ahead and handle it with the MLS and how to do it, okay? So anyhow, right now, it shows no assurance of lender approval, right? We were just starting with that before I got off a bit. The whole idea is that the lenders that I've met, basically they have 2 departments. One is the short sale department, and that time they're very nice to you and nice to your client. Okay, and every time you call, they're very happy to help you. And oh yeah, don't worry, we're looking on it, we're checking it, we're doing our best. One time I heard some voices while I was talking to my person. It sounded like they were not too far away, right? You have to pay or we're going to foreclose. I'm going, okay. So I asked that person, I said, are you guys in the same room? They go, well, not really, but we're at the big room, okay? So what they do is they have one group that is out calling your client 4 times a day, telling them to pay up or they're going to be out of their house and real fast, okay? So they've got a group of those, and then they got another group working directly with me and maybe other people calling direct, and they say, sorry, we're not, we're working on it. So just remember, when we'll get into a little bit further, but the bottom line is you have to get an offer in somehow as fast as possible. Okay? And once you get in there, you can always switch out the offers. Like you could go back and say, hey, I've got a new offer that's 10,000 higher. Then the bank loves you. You made a lot of points there, okay? All right, so this is the last thing here is where we're at, number 5, okay? Buyer seller cost, basically the costs are pretty much approved by the bank for the seller, and then the buyer has to cover their own cost, okay? I haven't seen too many banks helping buyer costs, truthfully, on short sales. So if the buyer is out there asking too much, it's not going to happen, guys. The bank is not going to say, okay, we're going to pay this, we're going to pay that. Usually they'll cover the title company, the title for the property, and that's about it. Termite, seldom. Okay, repairs, I've never heard of a bank offering repairs on a short sale. Okay. So if you want to get the bank's attention, I call it a clean offer from a buyer, meaning figure out what all those things that you wanted would cost and then adjust the price. Banks only want to see a cost or a number. That's how they live. Their whole life is about numbers, right? So they don't want to hear about this repair, that repair, who's repair, right? Just let it go. Okay. So choose the number when you do a short sale and you want to offer. Okay. Okay. So right now I'm going to sort of take this one out of here. Let's see what we can do if I can do it again. I think I'm pretty well caught up here. Have I got everybody sleeping yet? I'm doing my best to get you guys to sleep, okay? You don't have to buy any sleeping medicine today. Trust me, I'm already helping, okay? All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you another form, and we're not going to go over it very fast. Well, we'll go over it very fast, okay? This is called short sale information here. It's sort of like that buyer and seller special 13 pages of things they should know. You know what I'm talking about, right? The disclosure for residential.
So how many pages this one?
This one, if I wanted to, I could give you about 27 pages, but I don't want to do it. But this one's only 1 page. Okay, it's an advisory. The other one's a 13-page advisory. Okay, this one's only a 1-page advisory. So you see what they start out with? It says, what is a short sale? Okay, that's important, right? Alternatives to a short sale. You see how they do it? You can give them the form and let them read it, right? And then it says lender agreement to a short sale. I like it because it's all on 1 page. And instead of you having to keep answering the same questions to that client, they have it right in their hands. Just give them the paper, guys, and they can, check it out. If they still have questions, they can call you directly about that item or this item or whatever. Okay. Now, the next thing we're looking here, something you should be understanding about, seller's continuing liability on the debt. It's very simple. This we don't want to go through because we're not capable of making this decision to tell our clients about this kind of stuff, okay? Number one, what the bank is owed after the short sale, if anything, or what is owed to the bank after the foreclosure, if anything, is the responsibility of other people to tell them, okay? And they'll need to get either a real estate lawyer or they'll need to get somebody at the bank to explain it to them directly, okay? Some states, I'll just tell you right now, some states do not have the same kind of foreclosure laws we have. Their actual laws will state that any money owed but not paid off with the sale of the house will be sued by the lender towards the person that has the loan, and they will have to pay all of it back, just like they would on credit card debt. Okay. And then trustee sales, that's all on foreclosures only. I talked to you about junior liens already, about like who had the biggest loan, who had the smallest loan, and life is that way. Who's got the biggest, they get the first, right? And who's got the smallest, they get the last. And $5,000 is it's like a nickel to the banks, okay? So whatever. So the tax stuff, you'll have to talk to your client, tell them they got to work with a CPA. Okay, you have no idea how to declare their taxes at the end of the year when they do a short sale. You have no idea. Okay, zero. Stay away from that. Okay, tell them go get a CPA. And the CPA can handle that, how they handle that disclosure with the government.
Go back to the tax,
Yeah,
the property tax you talking about, or?
property tax.
No.
Right where it says tax, right here,
Credit and tax.
right here, it says tax, right? B. Is that it?
Right,
Right here. Right there, right?
yeah.
Okay, yeah, basically, the reason this is being done is because different states and different ways of holding title and different methods the bank uses on the foreclosure. Certain properties and certain loans are allowed to, the bank can go after all the cash to get the money back in California. But the normal is the fact that it's what do you call it? Basically, the mortgage is, and the house are the collateral for the loan. Not your personal money or anything like that. That's the normal. They can only get the house and they can, you know, do what they want with it, but they cannot come after your money. But that itself, you don't want to say very often or even at all, because the fact there is certain times when they can come after it. So you don't even want to go there. So that's why I'm saying right now, do not go there on anything to do with taxes, money still owed after the short sale or anything like that. Always get a CPA or get state. Okay. Do not, you know,
How about the property tax?
a property tax, same idea. Just let them work directly with the assessor's office, okay? And handle it that way.
You tell me this way. I see by myself. Okay, you do that one.
Okay, anyhow, we're back here. Whoever's got
listen.
their voice, their microphone on, please turn it off, okay? All right, so anyhow, here's some other things that they can read themselves, and this is their type of a deal.
Yeah.
Straw buyers, house flipping, this kind of stuff, try to stay out of. We're only doing short sales, guys. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to go into any other subject with our clients, all right? You can pass this along and let them go from there, all right? And if they have any questions, then they need to, you know, find the right specialist or expert. Okay, broker role, broker authority, as normal, we are only, we're only in here to help our clients, okay? That's it. And look at the first line on number 9 here, guys. You should take this one and keep it somewhere, all right? No matter what you're doing in real estate, it doesn't matter whether you're doing a lease or a short sale or any kind of things, right? Here is the most important thing. You'll never, ever be, how can I say it? You'll never regret doing it this way, okay? If you don't do it this way, then you'll regret it probably sooner or later. Okay, it says real estate broker cannot give legal or tax advice in connection with any of the options available to the borrower, nor can the broker suggest what best course of action for the owner. Perfect. I haven't seen it written so well for a long time. The bottom line is we are only helping them sell the property or to make it, you know, because
let me to do this way, I will to do that way too. I took cut that way, huh? But
sell
when
of the
you do
house
this
that
one,
we already have a
usually
listing
I do the
agreement.
more
That's what
straight,
we're
you
doing,
know.
truthfully.
But you,
I mean,
We're working
after
with the
you
bank,
clear
we're working with
and
other
go-
people to
Oh.
get
You don't
the final
go
deal.
oh.
Just like a regular sale, you do the same
after
thing,
the
right?
mirror,
Oh.
after the mirror
Okay, just
Yeah.
clears
uh,
it, then
Okay.
you go a little bit this way. But
Anything
you
else?
can't go this way
Okay,
too
so
soon,
basically.
or the car will be too close.
Let's
yeah.
see if
I
who's
didn't see them.
here.
Usually by myself, I just saw.
，Cindy，你的麦克风，Cindy，你的麦克风。
Yeah, somebody's microphone almost gone. Oh, I think I hit it. I got the mute. Okay, hold on a second. I hope I got it. It shows blue mute. All right, so anyhow, the bottom line, guys, at this whole thing that we're talking to this point is that it's pretty much a regular sale, except that we're helping people to get the bank's approval. Okay? And that's
Usually it takes how long to get approved?
okay. Truthfully, my best has been 17 days from the time I took it.
What is too fast.
No, they came to me 2 days before the sale of the property was supposed to be, foreclosed on. And I started from there and I took a purchase agreement and delivered it to the bank directly. To the gentleman upstairs. Okay,
Why sometimes it takes almost 1 year?
because the agent has no
Are you
clue
okay
on
with
how to do it.
Uh,
There are many agents in this short sale business and they have no clue whatsoever. All they know is they take an offer if they can get it. And then they just give it to the bank. And then they sit back and wait. And then the bank will push the client directly about do this, do that, do this, and then they don't know what they're doing, so it doesn't get done. So the package I've already talked to you about, the hardship letter and everything, that entire short sale package does not get completed for at least 6 months to a year, if they can get that long, or the bank just says, I don't want to deal with this, and they just foreclose on it because the agent doesn't know what they're doing and the client is not cooperating because they've been told by the agent to wait. Now, the other thing we have to be considering also is there are lenders, not lenders, lawyers, and they were collecting $4,000 last time, and they would do nothing. They would just let it sit there and it go all the way down, and these people be foreclosed upon. And once it's foreclosed, the lawyer puts the 4,000 in his account. So just remember that. So when we're out offering our services, the key thing is we have to be different and we have to be knowledgeable, okay?
So that means if you wait more than 1 month, you can walk away. If you are-
No, the bottom line now is that we have to wait till the bank is ready to give us their answer. And sometimes you have to push hard. And sometimes you have to push, what do you call it? The right way. Well, here's the deal. If I want somebody to do something and they have more of what I want that I do, I'm gonna have to find out how to get them to do something, right? I cannot say, I'm gonna do this to you. They don't care. So the bottom line is we have to find out how to work with people. But the basic idea is 2 days before the foreclosure should have happened, right? The sale. Then within 3 days later, I delivered the purchase agreement and all the details and everything from the party that I was representing. They actually cooperated with me. They got everything I needed. I presented the package and I presented the offer at the bank's front door. Okay. And guess what was with it?
Yeah, so it depends on the agent.
Of course, it depends on the age. It's just like regular real estate. You guys are the best. And that's why you get business, okay? You see what I'm saying? Universal, we only have the best agents, in case you hadn't realized that. We don't have anybody else. I'm sorry. So the bottom line is you guys are the best. And that's what we have to do on short sales. We have to be the best, okay? And you can do it. It's not that hard. Come on. I'm probably the most difficult person to get something done. And even I can do a short sale. Okay? But the bottom line is you have to be very, very no emotions. There you go. No matter what you hear and how stupid it is, or no matter what you hear and it calls you something that you don't like to be called, you just sort of look at it and say, okay, I understand what you said, but now let's talk about short sales. And let's change the subject, right? And keep going, just keep going, keep going, keep going. And don't let anything stop you. And by the way, if you get these, I think are they 3 feet? I think over at the supermarket, they have these trays that are about 3 feet diameter, and they'll put all kinds of food on it. If you take that to the front of a bank, watch how people talk to you. It works, okay? They think you're a pretty nice person, okay? So it's different. Nobody else brings them food, right?
Yeah. So both is good, right?
Yeah, exactly. Bring them a bunch of Bouchers or something. I mean, you can bring that or bring them some, I don't know, youtiao or something, whatever you want, you know. Salbing youtiao for breakfast, anything you want to bring them, okay? So the bottom line is just, you have to be different and you have to be, I call it friendly, but not too friendly. In other words, I'm friendly, but you still got to do what I want for my clients, okay? And I'm here for my clients. You know, I bet it's business, in other words. Don't forget, it's still business. I gotta get this for my clients so that we can get this thing done. And I'm here to talk to you about it. Okay? So it's sort of a, you know, in between. It's sort of like when I run factories in Asia for 30 years, same thing. I have to be very definite, but not too impolite, right? Okay. All right, so right now, today, we're getting pretty close to 12 o'clock. I would like everybody to go ahead and send me a WeChat question if they wouldn't mind, and then we'll go from there and I'll sort of answer everybody. Anything else that we have here in-house? Any other questions from you guys? So truthfully, it's not that hard at all once you get the process at how the bank works. So that's where we focus on, is being able to match what the bank wants. And once you do it once, luckily all the banks almost the same. It's perfect. So you'll have to learn it one time. You don't have to have one for Citibank, one for Bank of America, and one for whoever. You know what I'm saying? Just one style will get you through everybody. Now they're going to give you different pieces of paper with the bank's name on it, probably, but the same information. Just like a loan now, every bank I go to, it's the same loan package, you know what I'm saying? So just remember that it's not that hard. It's just getting it, you know, collect information, because the rest of it is, you've already learned. The listing agreement, the purchase agreement, how to negotiate it, how to get everything taken care of, how to get a deal. And you just tell them, hey, I'm sorry, I know you want repairs, but it's a short sale. And therefore the bank is not going to allow me to pay you. Always blame somebody else, right? And then you have no problem. So the whole idea is to make sure that you use your current skills and then add on a set of skills for the bank. And those skills are not difficult. Look at me. I've already, you know, I'm probably the worst person to add on skills.
If the lender is in the help, some lenders, they don't have a retail bank.
Okay, they don't have a retail, then you have a trick that I use, which is, it's hard to find, but if you get everything's online, guys.
Oh,
Everything you want is online, okay? Somewhere, some way, like if you get that person's name, for example, like somebody says, oh, I'm Steve, I cannot do this. I have to send it up to Mr. Yablonka. Okay, Citibank, Yablonka, and I search, okay?
so you can save both.
Yes, yes. Well, but not only that, all I want is the information. And once I provide food, then I can usually get more connections. I'm no longer a threat. See, that's why they don't give out the phone numbers, because they don't know who you are. But once you make that relationship where you become on the same team as they are, everybody has the same idea that they want to get money back for the bank as much as possible. And if I have connection to him up on top, then I can get it done quicker without losing what I have in my hand that could give money back to the bank. I need his assistance, and I need to ask him for help. You see how you see how the idea is? And we don't represent a threat, or anybody's going to sue them or say bad words about them or anything like that. We're all on the same team. So I present myself as a team member, but I need a little help from their team too. Okay. Is there any other questions like that? Did I paint a better picture now about the fact that you have two things, right? One is your normal skills, and then the other is dealing with the bank skills. And that's what we're after right now, is the bank skills. Okay. And that's what I'm going to focus on for the next one. And I try to focus earlier on getting stuff that the bank needs. Okay. Now, if you would like, I would be happy to have somebody bring in their mortgage statement and allow us to look at the back, or take a photocopy of the part that says, it explains how to contact somebody when you cannot pay your bill. It's on the backside of the statement. So if somebody would be willing to do that, we'll black out all the information, and I'll just leave that part on the statement so you know what to look for at the client's house when you're trying to find out the information on how to get contact with the bank, right? So if anybody wants to, loan me their bank statement, please go ahead. Okay, next time. Anything else I could do today? Are we getting closer? Is everybody gonna, I'm gonna give out certificates, by the way.
I do have a question.
Yeah.
Not about this.
Okay, well, let me finish with this and we'll go to yours, because we need to talk a few other things too. So what I'm saying is, Does everybody know what a certificate does?
Show sale certificate?
Okay, let me explain something to you. Do you know that a certificate of a short sales specialist coming from Steve Walker is just as good as anything you get from the NAR and CAR as far as legally? Okay, let's say you're going to be a buyer's agent. What's the name of it? It's AR something. I forget the name for the buyer's rep certified, right? There is no rules, no regulations, no nothing about who can issue a certified thing. Okay. So just so you remember that, you know, so if you're a, you know, if you're a certified electrician, there could be the certification comes from anybody, but it can also come from the government. So I will present a Steve Walker certification at the end of class stating that everybody is a short sale specialist and you can show anybody you want. Okay. So that's my offer from this, huh? No, you can charge other people. You can say it costs more money to use a certified short sale rep, okay? Yeah, we get extra commission, don't we? I mean,
Make it more fancier and put it personal sale.
exactly. I will have a personal seal and it's gonna say short sale, what do you call it? A professor, there we go.
Oh, yeah.
Or short sale expert, you know,
Good idea.
which I'm not, but anyhow,
Good idea.
so the bottom line is that's what I'm offering when we get out of here. But anything else, the thing is, we are going to be the best group, the best team, and we're going to be out there before anybody else. I'm also going to be working with you guys later on at the end for getting ready to go looking for short sales. Right now, I'm trying to get the basics in so that we have a rough idea, right? And then at the very end, we'll take that time to go ahead and like letters that go out, how to do it online, or whatever your ideas you guys have. You know, like are we doing a podcast or anything like that? So start thinking, and that's how we'll finish it up with. Because by that time, we're ready to start looking for it.
And then at the end of this class, I just, you know, like to do what I said, request earlier, can we like team up?
Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking, but we can start thinking about that now, and then when we get to the end of the class, then we'll go ahead and go forward with that idea. You know, one way, you know, like, is anybody interested still? How do we handle it and all that kind of stuff? So I'd like to keep it till like the end, like you mentioned, and keep the end and we'll go for it, okay?
Because,
And then I'll work as an advisor to the team, no matter what you guys decide. It could be a 1 person or a 10 person, I don't care. Okay, and I'll be your advisor. Can I have a certificate too? I want an advisor certificate, okay? Don't forget, guys. Dear Mr. Walker, you're certified as a #1 advisor or number 27, whichever you want to call me. Okay, so is there any other things I can do today? Okay, one thing I need to remind you guys while we're here, we need to be more attention on our relationships disclosures, okay? Like the disclosures between the agent and the buyer or their client. We have to pay more attention to that for those relationships, okay? For example, if I'm doing something for a family member, I have to mention that it's my family member as a part of the counter offer or an addendum or something like that, okay? So just remember, it's got to be more, we got to be more careful, okay?
So you put that in the addendum?
You can put it in the addendum if you'd like to, or you could just put it in something that you give directly to the other side. And it's like when the other side is coming to, like they deliver an offer, for example, then you would go back and say, FYI, and add it to the bottom. Agent is related to seller, or seller is related to agent.
So
And it would be a part of the counter offer coming from the seller.
Or how about the buyer, so I have to say.
Yeah, if it's a buyer, it's gonna be the same thing. Yeah, you're gonna put it down at the buyer side. It's gonna be either on their counter offer or it's gonna be on their first
Or
offer.
how about if I buy for myself?
Buying for yourself, that also has to be presented, okay? You have to state that you are an agent. And the best way to say that is to state that I am a real estate agent, but I am not using my license for this transaction. Because that way you don't have any responsibility to the other party like our disclosure has. If you read your disclosure form AD, you'll see that we're required to do certain things, even as a you know, even though I'm
So
not.
basically, we have to have someone else represent us.
That would be the best way for you guys. I've had people in the past is to go ahead and let, today, okay, this time I help you and next time you help me. And that way it's you know, it works that way best and that's the safest way to do it.
Okay.
I know a lot of people like to represent themselves, but it's possible, maybe not every time, but it's possible that it might
How about the?
get confusing.
If the company are belong to me, that I using company name to buy.
Oh, it's the same idea. You just have to point out the fact your relationship with the company name. In other words, if you're the, whatever your position in the company is, you know, you have to point it out. It'll either be in the counter offer or an addendum later.
I still have to say that?
Yeah.
If I didn't say it, then what?
All kinds of things could happen. Okay, I'd rather not go into those things right now. Let's just say the safest way is to stay with the disclosures of who you are, who you know, and how you do it together. Okay. So I just wanted to bring that up today. I appreciate everybody's time. Whatever I can do, come see me. You know what I'm saying? Call me anytime. Are we ready to give it a break?
No
Yeah.
break for you.
No break for me, exactly. Yeah, I'm just gonna change from the Zoom screen over to my desk and we'll go from there.
Just talk here.
Yeah, we'll just talk here, whatever. But anyhow, wish you guys a great day, great, you know.
So what was your question? And
哦，我就想要问那个55 plus，因为我的客人他问他说，他本来想要买就是咱们公司的那个 Summer，他不前2天放在群里嘛，然后我正好有个客人他就问，他说他可不可以买来出租？那我跟他说了，我说你是肯定就是做短租是100%不行的，然后我说你出租对象也要是55岁以上。然后并且要被这个 park 批准才可以。
Okay,
对 mobile home。
Okay. Yeah, well, no, I'll go ahead and answer this. It's fair because it's a good question. I can help everybody on this one. Okay, 55 plus,
Yeah, and mobile home.
okay, and mobile home. So first of all is park management decides on people that are allowed to live there.
Yeah.
So if you're renting to somebody, you always need to run it through the park. And also the park will give you a thing telling you that you're totally responsible for anything they do and you are gonna pay the fine and everything like that. Okay, so that's it. Now, also a senior complex is the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay, the only thing with the senior complex that is gonna be different than what we just talked is that anybody living there
Over 55.
has to be, no,
one person.
no, one person has to be over 55. Okay, that's number one. And for children under 18, many times there's a rule, or under 16, there's a rule stating that they can only spend a certain amount of time every year in the community. For example, they can come visit grandma only about 2 or 3 months a year. They do have that set up with the parks, okay? So you have to check with the park and the HOA.
Park. It's not a
No,
senior
parks and HOAs, like like a senior community HOA, condos, whatever, they have the same rules basically as what she's talking about, okay?
然后他们另外一个问题，他说他们年龄不够，可以买吗？那
Yes,
so one
that's a
of
good
the-
question. You brought it up.
Okay.
Any senior community can be purchased by anybody.
Oh.
Right.
So even you're not senior.
You can buy it when you're 18 years old and wait till 55 and move in. Yeah, you can buy it 18 when you're legally allowed to buy something like that, right? And then you can hold on to it until you're 55, or you could start renting it to 55-year-old people.
Yeah,
Oh.
rent it out.
Anybody can purchase any over 55 or over 62
Yeah.
property.
Oh, really? I thought one of the owner has to be.
Oh, no, not the owner, only the resident.
Oh, so basically.
So if, okay, let's say, for example, my spouse is maybe 15 years younger than I am, so that would put them under the limit, right? Then I would be able to invite them in as long as they're an adult, okay? You see where I'm coming from, right? So basically, as I'm still there, then my spouse is younger than the actual age limit, no trouble. She's there with me as long as we don't have problems, right? Or cause problems. Okay. Any other things for seniors, 55, 62?
那个体租是多少钱？
Oh, okay, we'll cover that later. We'll cover that later, okay?
我也还没
Yeah,
说
yeah,
这个
you'll have to talk to Summer and talk to Pan Pan
Pan Pan, yeah.
about the pricing and anything to do with the listing, okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, you talk to them directly, okay? All right, because otherwise we don't, you know, it's not good. Okay, have I hit my time limit yet? Is everybody asleep? Do I need to play wake up music or anything like that? Okay, anything else that you just contact me, guys? Let me know what you need. I'm getting ready to shut it down here. Last 1, 2, 3. Okay, well, thank you a lot, everyone. It's been a great time and thank you for, you know, tuning in as they call it. Next time we'll get a little bit further into it. And then the final time will be like we just mentioned. We will discuss about how to go out and get them. Have a good day.
So that would be our next class next Wednesday.
Our next class next Wednesday is going to be about the next step. In other words, we've showed what we're starting to collect information, right? So next one will be what to do with that information and what happens with it. For example, right now we're doing the hardship letter and we're doing everything else like materials we need. And then we learn how to put it into a package, who to contact, how to send it, and how they like it, everything like that. And then at the end, once you give it to them, how do you stay on it?
Do you have a sample?
A sample, I try not to use a sample because each bank will be different. So I just tell everybody a loan package. And then the only thing different from the loan package is how they spend their cash that's left over after they pay their bills.
I would say that's a show sale paradigm.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, it is. Okay. Yeah, so the bottom line is we'll go over it next time and I'll get as much as I can without getting too much. Okay. Okay. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, Steve.
Pleasure. See you guys. Thanks for listening. Did that help a little bit? It wasn't as quick as the last one, right? It was more.
So I'm confused. So basically it's like we talk to the seller, the owner, and then we talk to the bank. No,
Talk to the seller first,
and then list the property or no?
if we can.
Oh, we can get a listing like a.
Get the listing if you can, and
Okay.
explain to them that we're gonna help them do a short sale.
Uh-huh.
Or we're gonna help them do whatever they need. If it's a deed in lieu, or if there's keys for cat, whatever it takes, we're gonna help them, okay? And that's how you get your listing.
So we
and-
get a listing and then we take everything and then go for the bank to.
Yes, and why did you get the listing first?
To pay the bank.
No, why do you want the listing?
You want a commission,
You want money,
right?
or you wanna make something off of it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
When I have a listing, my goal is to have 9 deals off of that listing. Even if I don't sell it. Because you have the neighbors calling in, you have the neighbors coming over and they want to buy a house. Okay, if not, you have people on the MLS, on Zillow, they want to buy a house.
So you're saying you don't spend, you know,
Even if-
time for nothing.
Exactly. You know, in other words, even if they don't do the short
Right.
sale, I've got marketing out there that's free.
I agree with you.
Okay, and then also I got the neighbors that call me over and say, hey, what are you doing? I say, oh, I'm helping your neighbor to work with the bank. That's all. You never say too much, right?
Yeah.
And can I help you? Are you interested in selling your house?
One short, quick question.
I'm a listing agent. I'm sorry. It's just automatic, you know,
Do you
but
get a listing, I mean, for show sale, do you put a for sale sign? Or
depends.
keep it quiet?
No, it's up to them. I go with the owners. I don't mind.
And the owner very, you know.
Well, if the owner is like, I don't want people knocking on the door, I say, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll go ahead and list it for you, but I will not let anybody come to the door. And if anybody comes to the door, you tell me, and then I'll send somebody to beat them up. I will have somebody I will personally call their broker. I will personally call that person's broker and I'll make sure they never come back to your front door. That's how I phrase it to them.
Already have a, you know, financial hardship, you know. I don't
Well,
think-
they're having a financial hardship and they don't really want anybody knocking on the door. Otherwise, they don't mind if you drive by as long as you don't stop, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So the bottom line is, you know, so that's why take that listing as quick as you can get it. And also, if you don't have a listing, here comes the last kick.
Mhm.
If I don't have a listing, I cannot represent them very easy.
Um,
It's the way California works. Sure, I got the third party authorization.
mhm,
Anybody could get that if they're willing to.
that's true.
You see where I'm coming from? But if I go to the bank, I've got the third party authorization, I'm the listing agent, I've got more.
Power on it.
Yeah.
Then-
Because now the bank sees I'm not just a grandmother or uncle that's
Uh-huh.
trying to find out for them what's going on.
Oh, you're actually helping them out, so that's why.
I could actually bring them money.
Bring the money. I need
Yeah.
help.
Exactly, see?
When you
You,
sell the property, you bring back the money.
exactly, see, yeah, so the idea is you want that listing right away.
Yeah.
That's how I took the listing. I told you before they even stopped their payments. I took the listings right away. And then when I approached the bank later,
Uh-huh. So when you have the listing, but you don't put a price on it because there's no point.
oh no, you put a price on it.
How do you put a price on it?
You look at the average price in the neighborhood or what people are marketing it at
Uh-huh.
and
So
put a
you still
price.
Put a market price.
And yeah, you can do market price, but you should start out with the loan price at the minimum, okay? Let's,
Okay.
okay, let's say, for example, the price should be 400, right? Local
Uh-huh.
price of 400. If the loan amount's higher than that,
Uh-huh.
you should start at that price.
400.
Yes. No, that's the
No.
market price.
Oh, the market price.
If the loan price or the loan amount is still at 450,
Uh-huh.
you need to start at 450 to, so you can prove to the bank that you've done at least 7 days on the market at their loan amount. That's you cannot get away from that.
That is to include the first loan and the second,
Whatever money is owed.
whatever. money.
Yeah. So if you only have one loan, then it's gonna be one date. If you have two loans, you have to put in two amounts. Truthfully, I ignore the second loan and let them complain if they want. They never complain, okay?
Uh-huh.
I only go for the biggie.
The big-
The big guy can make decisions, the small guy can only complain. So the bottom line is go ahead and either, you gotta have 7 to 10 days of proof that
Uh-huh.
you put it on the market to get their money back. Now, after that, whatever you have to do to get it down. For example, 400 is the market price.
Uh-huh.
I immediately kick it down to 390. And if I don't hear anything on a week, I kick it down to 380. Another week, 370 until I get an offer. And from there we go forward, right? Because I need that offer. Now, whether or not I'm gonna give that 370 offer to the bank, I see if I can get a better one. Did I help? Did that give you better?
Yeah. Yeah. But.
So the bottom line is get that listing agreement, just like normal, just like a regular normal listing, and then promise them you'll keep everybody away from the door
Uh-huh.
and promise them that you'll do what it takes to give them, well, not that only, but also you're gonna try and help them with the bank.
Oh, okay. We're dealing with. ooh,
We'll help you deal with the bank, exactly, so. Does that get, oh, I didn't turn this off, excuse me.